Okay, now I've put the silver cover back on the GT3RS base, and I'm going to now attach the GT3RS circuit board into here. So this will look like a 911 Turbo when it's done, but it's really going to be a GT3RS. I've still yet to figure out whether I'm going to be able to swap the buttons too. But the first thing I noticed was, my initial reaction was, let's go ahead and get this in here and thread it through. But then I realized that this circuit board has the connection on the back, the older style. So it's probably going to be simpler for me to first work on threading this cable right here and this cable, the USB one, through this hub. And then once they're sticking out, then it'll be somewhat tethered. So I won't have as much room to play with, but I'll be able to slide the circuit board in and get it connected. Hopefully without too much trouble. Okay, so I've got the USB cable and the main cable threaded through. Excuse me. And I've got a fair amount of play here with the cables. These are the ones for the rim vibration. So now what I need to do is just connect this on the back side, route the other cable through for the USB up front here, and get this thing to slide down in. So I'm going to work on that now for a second, and maybe I'll try to set up this on the tripod so you guys can see that as well. Alright, wish me luck. So, should be pretty straightforward. This connects in this way. I can tell which way the direction faces because the glue residue is still on there. Pop this back on. Get it nice and tight. I don't know why it would need glue because it's very, very tight fitting. Now hopefully that gives me enough slack to slide these through. One thing I noticed earlier was the leather on the rim itself was actually trapping the top of this circuit board. So that's something to be aware of. Now, this is always the trickiest part. I'm actually glad this wheel doesn't have the LEDs because getting the LEDs through here was very, very tricky. Now I just have to try to squeeze this. Wow, this is tough. There it goes. Okay, now we'll pop it down onto that little holder thing. Wow. Whew. Good. I think we're in good shape here. Okay. This also tracks, there's, where's my flashlight? There's also plastic here from the wheel rim itself that fits onto the circuit board. I want to make sure not to damage anything. Make sure it goes in there smoothly, like that, and like that. Again, you can see the leather up at the top corners is kind of tight, but now we have that on there. That's nice and solid, just like factory. So I'm going to connect, hopefully these will reach. These two right here. Here's one for the rim. Here's the other. And this is the USB finally. Okay. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 screws to attach. We put the cover back on, we put that little piece of plastic on here, and I think we have the world's first GT3RS wheel with the Porsche 911 Turbo S rim on it. And then in a few minutes I'll get everything reassembled for the wheel I'll use. This will be a wheel that I'm going to be having my son race with when he races on PC, and I'll get the 3-platform compatible wheel. Okay, now I've got the Turbo S body swapped out, got the orange cover on it from the GT3RS. This is the GT3RS wheel over here now. and I've got the cable threaded up through the body. These are the connectors here. And what we need to do at this point is take this circuit board right here, which goes with the Turbo S. You can tell because it has the second button on there, and get these threaded through here. Remember, on this rim, all the wires come up through the center hub like this. So we've got that. This should be fairly easy to slide in here because this wheel's so open. I want to be careful. Pop it on that notch again. And there we go. That looks like it fits like a charm. We'll have to connect this wire, which was so difficult to get off, but now that it's off, no big deal. Make sure that's nice and solid. Connect it in there. These are the USB motors. Make sure I've got the right sides. This one's coming from the right, and this one's coming from the left. I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but might as well connect them properly. Okay, that is one connected wheel. Now I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other one. I'm going to attach the 2 screws here and 2 screws here to secure the circuit board down. And then I'm going to look at the button situation and see if I can get these buttons here, which light up, to fit in this rim. So that way we'll even have the Alcantara rim on there and the lighting up buttons, which originally when I had talked to Thomas about this, he had said that that would be one sacrifice he'd have to make. But I think this might alleviate that if everything fits. We'll have to see. Okay, here's the problem. I did a mock-up to see if I could use the buttons. The buttons that come with the GT3RS, which match it, aren't clear, unfortunately, so they won't let light shine through it, and these are backlit buttons. They came on the Turbo S. They actually switch lighting from Xbox symbols to PS3 symbols to PC. So it would be nice to use those, but the problem is they don't quite fit. Couple of issues. I think I'm going to use these down here because this looks like a clean fit, and these will light up at least with start and select. I'm not sure, maybe I won't, just to keep everything matching, but the rest of this just does not fit quite along the edges here. You can kind of squeeze it in so that it fits, but it's not a good solid connection, and that would prevent the buttons from being pressed well. And the other issue, this fits fine, which is good, so I'll be able to use both buttons. The tuning button. The other issue is the actual rod that goes in here to hold this, the steel rod. The one on the GT3RS, which remember we're using the GT3RS rim, so these pieces right here come from the GT3RS. The only one that fits through here to hold the buttons is this one. The one that actually comes off of the Turbo S is a little bit beefier, a little bit heavier, a little thicker, and it does not fit through these holes. It was only going to fit through these holes. So what happens is if you put the Turbo S buttons on the rod that'll fit this GT3RS, they're very loose. It's not a tight fit. So they're up here now, but you can see they're on there fixed. They're not going anywhere, but they're shaking around. So it would have been really nice to have these actually lit up, and I wonder if potentially if this becomes a popular mod and a lot of people are doing it, if perhaps Fanatec would consider making buttons like this as an option that you could buy that would fit the smaller rod and be a good tight fit. In other words, basically these exact buttons here, but etched through so that you can see the light. So I'm going to reconnect this with the buttons that match. At least everything will match then. It'll be nice and solid, and I can live without the lights for now. Maybe I'll stick labels on the buttons or something like that. So no big deal.